Hey, this is Alex Power here with My Creative Cinema, and today we're gonna talk about difference between zoom lenses and prime lenses. Stay with me, we'll be right back in just a moment. I had that question from one of my subscribers and I decided to make this video. He asked me what's the difference between prime lenses and zoom lenses. We will start with the zoom lenses. Zoom lenses are usually bigger in size and they are heavier, they have more moving parts inside, so that's definitely a downside because when you're on the go, you don't want to carry this lens around, you want something smaller, and prime lenses coming along for that, but they have some limitations. Let me explain. When you shoot with a zoom lens, you have a convenience of having a different focal length at your possession, right? Whether you're taking your pictures or you're filming, that's really convenient thing to have. But when you carrying a prime lens, when you're filming, let's say, with the prime lens, you have only one focal length. This one is 85 millimeters, so in order to change the focal length, I would need to do this by walking and switching the tripod to a different spot, putting my tripod at a different spot. So, but the good advantage about this lens, it's all manual. There is fewer moving parts inside. What's good about it, it opens aperture pretty wide, all the way to 1.5. So that can let a lot of light inside, and it can be really good for low light situations, for both photography and videography. I've never seen a zoom lens for a full frame camera that has aperture lower than 2.8, which is not really bad for such a long focal length. This one has 70 to 200 millimeter. It can come really handy when you do sport photography, wildlife photography, when you're photographing events, or when you filming something that is constantly moving. That way you can just be stationary in one spot and change the focal length inside your lens. That's a huge advantage over the primes. What's good about prime lenses, they also have a better quality image. If you have an artistic approach for your photographs, for your videos, and you have more time, you have more creative freedom for your projects, you can afford to have time to set this up in a certain way and take the shot, then definitely I would recommend prime lenses. But if you're working in a fast environment, like filming or photographing events or any type of sport or even wildlife, then the zoom lenses, it's a way to go. All prime lenses, they have a fixed aperture, and that aperture is constant. The expensive zoom lenses like this one cost over $1,000. You can have a constant aperture. That means when you change the focal length, it's not affecting the aperture. Aperture stays open 2.8 if you set at 2.8. But the cheaper versions of the zoom lenses, they have a variable aperture. When you zoom in, aperture closes. So for example, there is another lens I have made by Tamron, and it has a really large focal length. It can be used only on a crop sensor, and the focal length 16 to 300 millimeter. That's a great focal length, but it starts at 3.5 and it goes all the way to 5.6 when you at 300 millimeter. So that means you can use it successfully with in the daylight. You can use it when you have some light source, but if you have a low light situation, that particular lens not going to deliver the quality. Keep that in mind when shopping for a lens. It doesn't mean they're bad. They can fill the purpose. You can create even with a kit lens, 18 to 55 millimeter, with variable aperture 3.5 to 5.6. So which lenses to buy, zoom or prime lenses? That's a good question. I would say I will use both types of lenses for different types of shots. Let's say if I'm having a photo shoot somewhere when I can take time to expose my shots, when I can take time to frame it, I would definitely use prime lenses. They're really sharp and they will bring you a really good quality image. If you're filming or photographing an event or a sport game or wildlife, I would definitely recommend you to get a zoom lens, because that way you can be standing in one spot and taking all these pictures, not missing anything at the different focal lengths. Ask yourself before buying any lens, what do you need this for and how are you going to utilize it? And you will start from there. Please let me know in the comments below if this video was helpful for you. Like, subscribe, support the channel if you like the content. I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.